Today I'm going to take a quick look at this Optoma EP716. It's a DLP projector. It's an older model. It's a few years old, but I bought this on eBay for about 25 bucks, and the guy said it was untested. So I figured it would be broken, and I'd have something neat to rip apart, because I do want to see the actual DLP chip, because they're very interesting. There's detailed write-ups available online, Wikipedia, whatnot. But basically, a DLP chip is a series of mirrors, microscopic mirrors on a chip, and the light source, in this case a big lamp right here, is sent to the chip, and the chip's mirrors individually switch on and off the pixels of your display. This particular one is 800 by 600. The pixel mirror, as it were, is in one of two positions. It either dumps it into a big heat sink, and then the pixel is effectively off, or it bounces it through the lens. This unit has a teeny tiny dusty lens on it with focus and a zoom control, and this is where the actual lamp is, the main air exhaust. You can see by all the dust. One of the reasons why I'm opening this up is just to get all the dust out. Put this back on so it doesn't make as much noise. On the top there's some basic controls and overheat light, that sort of thing. On the back we've got VGA in, two of them. This one is for a SCART port. I assume there's an adapter for this, because that's not what a normal SCART connector looks like. So unless there's some version of it which uses a VGA style connector, I've never seen that. I don't live in Europe. There's audio in, S-video, composite video, VGA out to send it back to another display, or daisy chain them, I guess, and RS-232 serial. The manual shows this as being a USB port, so I'm guessing in later revisions this is replaced with the USB port. There's also an infrared receiver for the remote. I don't have the remote, but my Logitech Harmony remote, I programmed it to operate this thing, and it does work without issue. It seems like all the controls work. So I've never opened this thing up, so we'll see what it looks like inside. I just want to clean it out mostly. Come on, screws. Well, get those later. It uses a standard IEC power connector. So hopefully there's no hidden screws under that little top plastic panel. This thing, the logo. But we'll see in a second. It's feeling like there is. I'm thinking they've got some under there. Well, let's see if this thing wants to come off with the appropriate tools. I'm not too worried about the little logo on the top. Ooh. Ooh. Looks like there's a place for a screw. And there's... oh, there is a screw way down there. That is very far down. I don't think I have anything that can open that. Well, that might derail us right now, because it is being held in the middle there. Well, it's possible it's being held by the rest of the frame somehow. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be... I know these are adjustment legs, but yeah, I was hoping maybe they came out all the way and you could find screws or something underneath them. Oh, okay, so there is a screw inside. Ah, okay. I was looking at the bottom of the screw. Let's see if I have a screwdriver that can... this one's too small. See if my fit. I don't think it will. Ooh. No idea if it's turning it. I do not think it is. Oh, I stand corrected. Okay. See if that made any progress. Oh, it's plastic clips. That could be the reason. There we go. Okay. Lens cap comes off. Okay, there's a ribbon cable. Let's see if I can take the tape off of that without breaking anything. Oh, disconnects on the other side. Here I am all worried about it. Okay, so there's a lot of shielding on this guy. Start taking, I should put my knife away first before I stab myself. Take off some of this shielding. This thing does get very hot, so this is probably a mix of heat sinking and just general shielding. You can already see the lens assembly, it's filthy in there. And there's a big switch mode power supply. Hopefully I don't fry myself on some caps. This piece does seem to be separate from all the others. However, okay, so it's being blocked there. Maybe I have to take the lens assembly out somehow first. Well, let's take out the lamp. I'm fairly certain this is lamp access right here. Yep. That looks like a lamp module to me. Oh, it's screwed in place. Hang on. Hang on, let me just double. Yeah, okay. Make sure I wasn't taking apart the lamp assembly itself. Probably don't want to do that. But we'll see. This could very well be part of it. So this, I believe, uses just a big halogen bulb. Oh, come on. Why are you fighting with me? Oh, and I see another screw to take that off. That's probably why I was like snapping it. It's okay. I don't mind if I break a bit of plastic on this thing. Okay. Oh, that is filthy. Oh, there's the bulb. And there you go. You can see the filament. It's got this whole shrouding assembly on it, and you can see the high voltage connections going in. There's the actual connectors. I don't know what voltage these operate on, because I assume it's some kind of just plain halogen bulb, in which case I don't think they use a very high voltage, but it could be some kind of arc lamp for all I know. I'm no lamp expert. Okay, get that out. And I'm not sure where that wire goes for the infrared receiver on the front. I did see a bunch of connectors on the board, so a little piece of plastic that broke off. Don't care. Now, let's see about the rest of this. That looks like it's the color wheel. Maybe a little hard to see. There's these projectors. The single DLP chip projectors use a spinning disc that has generally the primary colors, but I think newer ones use the process colors like CMY. It spins rapidly, thus giving you each color per frame, as it were, and it just does it very quickly to fill in all the colors as the mirror chip rapidly switches per color channel. There's the cooling fan. This thing is loud as hell. I think it's on its last legs, so I was hoping it doesn't look like it's a standard size, but I'll know more once I get in there, because I was hoping to replace it. Let's see, well, there's a screw here. I can take this out, see if that makes any difference. Okay, there's one on this side too. Okay, well, this seems to be moving a bit more now. It's possible I have to take these off. Ooh, they even put in some Loctite. Hey, there we go. Alright, this is just a molded piece of ABS. Nothing too interesting. Ah, there is space for a DVI connector though. Interesting. I don't get that on my board. So, let's see if we can get some more of the shielding off now. This back piece. I assume the back piece is screwed in at the bottom. There's a bit of give, but I'm fairly certain this plastic at the bottom is what comes off last. It does not seem to be moving much. Okay, so now we can slide this off. I managed to figure out what was holding on the bottom piece. It was the little foot stand to raise and lower the projector. So once this is off, you can unclip the shield, I think, because there doesn't seem to be anything else holding it in. Yep, just seems to be clips. Not right there. Ah, the metal tab is held in with screws here. I thought they were just holding the motherboard in place. This one's a little bent. Can't quite get in there. Oh, come on. Okay, so that's the speaker connector. This one's sticking on the back. There you go, a little 2-watt 8-ohm speaker. Now, okay, so there's the switch mode power supply. Very dirty. Look at that filth. I'm gonna take this whole thing outside and blow it all off, but first I'm going to take off this motherboard, and it looks like there's connectors all around the edge. Lots of connectors right here. This might be easier to unscrew first. There's still a couple screws holding it in. a little ribbon cable, just in case. Oh, I see. Okay, so you've got the motherboard here, but there's also this top half of the power supply. That's a board upside down right there. So it does use a high voltage line. One of the outputs to this power supply is 385 volts at 0.65 amps. So that's what's driving the lamp. Oh, and I can see another big ribbon cable coming from the power supply. Right here. Okay. Well, there's a little bit more movement. See if we can get this last connector out. There we go. Now, there must be one more ribbon cable connecting the two boards. Ah, it's an edge connector. There we go. Yeah, see, they've got a long edge connector going right to the actual DLP board. There you go. You can see the big heat sink and the tube, the light pipe for the well, it's not a real light pipe. It's just like an aperture for the lamp. It hits right into the actual assembly. Now I don't see an actual dump for the light that's not being used. Maybe in these smaller ones they don't need a proper heatsink assembly to cool it off, because normally what happens is that the light that's not being used and is being deflected out, it has to go into a big heatsink because it'll just heat up the projector so much. This top part appears to be the high voltage board, the big multiplier or whatever it's using. Well, I'm gonna go dust this out. This is the main board. I got it cleaned up. The main chip here is the DLP 2000 ASIC made by Texas Instruments. It's specifically designed to run a DLP chip. The board itself is covered in rather large power devices. Lots of bypassing underneath this giant ASIC. And this is all optional components for the DVI interface, which is not populated on this particular model. And going back to this side, this is a Philips video driver. I think it's just generating the VGA. And at first, well, I was looking at the spec sheet for this giant chip, and this does all the interface. It has like built-in interfacing for all sorts of stuff like memory and whatnot, and it can control the motor driver. By the way, the motor driver is used for it's on this side, the color wheel. But I was looking at it, and one of the things it says it requires is RDRAM, which Rambus DRAM didn't really take off. Although its kind of successors are in things like Xboxes and whatnot. But I was wondering where it was, and then I noticed this thing. I thought this was like a heat sink cover or something for a TO220, but it's actually a single RDRAM die right there, and that's about it. There's space here for what looks to be a standard DRAM. Perhaps that was an optional component in it. This is the color wheel. It blocks the path from the light to the lens, and the idea behind it is you're rapidly changing the color spectrum of the light, and that in sync with the DLP chip, you can essentially produce the different color images you need to make up the full 16 million or whatever colors that this uses. As you can see, there's well, it's kind of hard for you to see on this, but there is a yellow, magenta, and cyan filter, and it appears there's a white one as well. Probably the white one is probably there just to add brightness to the picture, to make up for the fact that this is blocking some of the light, so it probably just does a pulse of white just to really help bring out the brightness of the screen, although I'm not entirely sure. I'm no expert on this technology. And there's a small ribbon cable coming from this, and it goes to the motor driver. This is the back of the DLP chip. You can see the giant heatsink it's using, and there's some nice copper foil, and it's got these big nuts that are screwed in, which are also clamping down the heatsink itself. I was wondering what this small board was. It's just a tiny PCB with a single part on it, and there's a 3 wire connector coming off it. But luckily, the actual motherboard sheds some light on it. It has a little label on the connector that says TS, so this is probably a thermal sensor to let it know when to cut off. Now it's kind of weird that they didn't put it right on here. This is the back of the DLP chip, but I guess it's close enough. You can see the big high voltage silicone covered wires going to the lamp connector straight from this top board, which is obviously the high voltage generator. Like I said, this power supply produces 380 volts, so this might step it up even higher, you know, into the kilovolt range, but I'm not sure. If I shine a flashlight through one end of the lens assembly and turn the wheel, you can see the different color filters. There you go. And there's white. While I was putting the board back together, I noticed that 2 of the connectors were actually labeled fan. So I looked a little deeper and noticed that this black piece right here is actually a blower fan. That's what's blowing onto the lamp. The other one is blowing more onto the actual board and the power supply and the actual DLP chip, whereas this blower style fan is directly on the lamp. I noticed that when you shut off the power to the unit, it actually runs the fan up to full power to quickly cool the lamp. So I guess it's just to extend the life of the lamp a bit. As you can see, it still works after putting it back together, despite having a couple extra screws. I'll probably rip this one apart and actually get a look at the DLP chip at some point, simply because it pulls 250 watts and it's only an 800 by 600 screen.